You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible.
And folks, again, also here in Detroit, I had a chance to talk with Tom Perez, who is the chair of the Democratic National Committee. He spoke to the NAACP delegates, and here is our conversation. Joining us right now, folks, is Tom Perez. Of course, he is the chairman of the Democratic National Committee. How you doing? Take a seat right here, sir. Good to have you here.
Great to be with you.
Glad to see you. First and foremost, I just chatted with Congressman Al Green here. Your thoughts on his continuing push, calling for the impeachment of President Trump, and trying to get this body to actually pass a resolution endorsing that.
Well, I think tomorrow is going to be important because we need to hear from Director Mueller. I was a prosecutor at the Department of Justice for a long time. I did public corruption cases, Roland. I had a lot of people who would come to me and say, you've got to indict this person tomorrow. And I understood that instinct because there was frequently a cloud of uncertainty that hung over it. I'm a big believer, and this is based on 13 years at DOJ, that I have to marshal the facts. I have to gather the facts before I move forward with something. And that's exactly what they're doing on the House side. That's why tomorrow is a seminal day to hear from Director Mueller. I did a lot of public corruption cases where the defendants were stonewalling, and I had to go to court. And that's what our House leadership is doing right now, and we're winning every time in court. So
you believe the process that Speaker Nancy Pelosi is on is the right one in terms of taking this thing slow, as opposed to immediately going to hearings or immediately taking an impeachment vote?
I agree with Speaker Pelosi, and I think I've always been a believer, ready, aim, fire. And also the thing to understand is the only way to defeat this president is at the ballot box. Because the U.S. Senate, if this president is impeached, they don't do anything they're a lapdog for Donald Trump. And so I want to make sure my focus as DNC chair is I got 489 days till the weekend. And my focus every single day is to make sure that we are organizing people. That's why we're here at the NAACP conference. That's why we're coming back next week for the second Democratic Party debate. Places like Michigan, Detroit in particular, are critical to our success. We're organizing early, and that's what we have to do to win is to get into every community, articulate our values, listen, and fight for those issues that matter most to people.
Let's talk about the presidential race. Obviously, you have a ton of people who are running. I think is it 25, 26? I know Congressman Eric Swalwell has dropped out. You've had some people critical of the rules. I just saw Governor Ballot on ABC this week on Sunday when I was on, complaining about that. Is that winnowing process important, establishing who doesn't meet a certain threshold? Because, again, at the end of the day, if you've got 10, 12 people who are not even getting 1%, does it make sense for them to be on the stage? And so talk about that winnowing process that you have.
Well, let me talk about our North Star first. Our North Star principle during this primary process has been we want to be fair to every single person who's running. We want to be fair in fact, fair in perception. And so back in January or February, we set forth the rules for the June debates. And they were inclusive, and I'm proud that they were inclusive because early on, I don't want to just have a polling threshold, Roland, because that just measures name ID in many cases. So we did something unprecedented. We gave people a polling pathway to the debate stage, and we gave people a grassroots fundraising pathway. We said for these first two debates, 1% in 3 polls or 65,000 donors. And we wanted to return power to the grassroots.
From a certain number of states this way.
Including at least 200 from no less than 20 states. And we got that from the 1971 public campaign finance law that Congress passed. So
you're trying to show breadth of one's appeal.
And also, if you want to win the presidency, you got to connect with the grassroots.
Right.
One of the most prolific grassroots fundraisers in politics right now is Donald Trump. And I've heard some criticism from some candidates saying that, well, this is too hard. And with all due respect, if you can't connect with the grassroots, then that's a real problem. And so we've set forth those two, the threshold for June and July. Now in September, it moves up, and that happens every debate cycle, every primary cycle. the closer you get to the Iowa and New Hampshire, the higher the bar is. And so for September, you need 2% and, not or, 2% and 130,000 unique voters, including 400 from 20 states. And if you've got 100,000 today, all you need is another 30. You know, it doesn't go back to zero.
So let's talk about the September debate that's going to take place at Texas Southern University, my hometown in Houston, HBCU there as well. So explain to the folks. I know we've been communicating. Yeah. So it's also happening on a Thursday and a Friday, same time as Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, ALC. So explain to folks who have no idea. Yeah. Was that a DNC decision? Was that an ABC decision? How did that come about?
Right, we were in contact with the CBC Foundation in connection with this, and here's the challenge: we have a network, ABC, that's willing to give us 2 weeknights in a row. The challenge with September is
two prime time weeknight when the new TV season starts.
And that's the challenge. So if you look at September, you got September 11th. We're obviously not going to do something on 9/11. You've got Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football, which we want to maximize eyeballs. And then when you get into the middle of September, that's when the new season starts, and it's frankly impossible to find 2 weeknights in September after the 15th where any of the non-cable networks would have done it. So,
and there was criticism in 2016 that you had debates on the weekends, so that's also there.
And we're sensitive to all of that. We want to make sure, again, my North Star, we want to make sure everyone gets a fair shake. And here's why. All but one of these candidates are not going to make it to the mountaintop, Roland.
Right.
And I want to make sure that all those candidates and their supporters feel like they got a fair shake. They got a chance to come to the plate, swing the bat. In this case, we have June. CNN, MSNBC, others have done these town halls. They've had unprecedented access to earned media, and some have been able to have their moments. Others are hoping to get those moments. All of them are wonderful candidates, and that's why I wanted to give them a fair shake.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
All right, folks, you've heard me talk a lot about marijuanastock.org. Why? Because I want to keep you informed of investment opportunities that make sense. We have all watched the growth of the cannabis industry. A recent report by New Frontier Data estimates the global cannabis market at over $340 billion. We know that marijuana legalization is sweeping the country state by state. We also know that marijuana has a good cousin, the hemp plant, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all of the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. And they need land to grow all of the plants. Folks, this is not rocket science. It's just an investment, an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. In their business model, it is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. Our friends at 420 Real Estate decided to do something special for the Roland Martin Unfiltered family. Originally, the minimum investment level was $500. Right now, though, you can invest in the crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200. The range is from $200 to $10,000. Again, this is a $340 billion industry, okay, that is still growing, and you can get in with as little as $200. To invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game, and you can do it now.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.